Well, good morning, church. We find ourselves in the last chapter of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13. Paul loves the Corinthian church, and he desires for it to be a church that's goal is holiness in each member's lives. But obviously, there are a lot of things that are going on. If you go back to chapter 12, he's challenging them. He's talking about sexual sin within the church, backbiting, gossip, all of these things. And he opens up chapter 13 by saying, this is going to be my third visit to you. He goes, and he's really concerned for them. And he says, listen, your behavior is such that you need to examine yourselves, verse 5 says, to see whether you're in the faith or not. And that's a good thing for all of us to do. He says, test yourselves and see if Jesus Christ is really in you. Because if Jesus Christ is really in you, you're acting differently. There is no backbiting. There is no debauchery. There is no sexual sin. You desire for holiness. So what Paul is saying is he's not afraid to bring church discipline to them when he comes. If things are not straightened out, he's going to step in the gap and he's going to apply discipline to that member's life. And so we need to understand that how important church discipline is to the church. And that is to protect the peace and purity of God's church. Everyone always says, well, that's none of my business. It's absolutely all of our business to keep the peace and the purity of God's church. And this is Paul's goal. And this is what he's doing, to say to us, examine. You should be, if you're really in the faith, you should be acting differently. But he ends the book with some encouragement. He says, finally, brothers, rejoice. The whole goal is to strive for restoration, he says in verse 11. Encourage one another. Don't fight one another. Be of one mind. Don't be arguing with one another. Live in peace. And it says, and the God of love and peace will be with you. That's the goal. Peace and purity in the church. Paul says he's coming to straighten that out. And our goal as believers in Christ and members of the Church at Liberty Park is to keep the peace and the purity of God's church. Ask yourselves, am I in the faith today? Am I in the faith? Is Jesus Christ in me? God bless you. Have a good day. And I hope you serve the Lord today.